Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to Seahawk Talk here on the Salve Athletics Network. I'm your host, Andrew Pizzelli, coming to you live on Facebook, YouTube, and Periscope through Twitter. We are live every day, 3 to 4 p.m. right here, and we cannot wait to get today's show going and get to the weekend. But first, we will talk with Sean Foster, Zach Kalon, David Lund, and we'll round out the day with Corey Hughes. Can't wait to talk to them and our producers. But first, like always, we want to remind you to keep your distance. That is Ed Habishaw with his rendition of Keep Your Distance from The Shake, a Rhode Island-based band with a message that we can apply worldwide. Social distancing, hand washing, mask wearing, we've heard all about it, and we're going to continue to reinforce all of it here on the Salve Athletics Network, and throughout the campus community as well. Want to get to our producers, Joey Morelli and Mike DeFusco. Fellas, how are we doing here on Friday?
Doing pretty good. Excited for the weekend.
Yeah.
Joey's just like, yeah, I'm ready.
I'm going home tomorrow. I'm out.
Yeah.
What'd you say, Mike?
I said, yeah, you're almost ready to go home.
I'm out.
Yeah. I'll miss you in our
I'll be there virtually. It's fine.
Good.
I realized yesterday you brought up I have to be a discussion leader next week, and I'm not going to be here, so it's going to be over Zoom, and that is going to be a hot mess. But
hey, like everything, we'll make the best of it.
Exactly, we'll make the best of it.
What do you guys have here at the top of the show? Any interesting tidbits to lead off the day?
Quickly talk about just another little event going on coming up this next week. It's November 18th that Faith Mitchell is going to be doing a little discussion over Pell Center's Facebook page, so a virtual event about COVID-19 and then on race relations. So, and I had honestly not heard of her before, but her resume is very impressive. She was president and CEO of Grant Makers in Health, which is a national organization that advises, informs, and supports the work of health foundations. And then a bunch of other great things that she's done in the national academies and National Research Council. So a very experienced woman, and it'll be great to get her take on this. And you see the banner at the bottom. It's got all the information right there if you're interested in going. Over Zoom again, like Joey will be doing his classes.
Yeah, I can't remember someone told me about that recently, and it looks super cool. I'll probably go to that. It seems neat.
Yeah, well, and it's got a log on. You can do it from your bed. Don't even have to have your camera on.
Yeah.
You can stay comfy.
Yeah.
Joey, do you have anything here at the top
All
of the
right.
program?
So apparently today it must be like a kind of slow news day because there wasn't like a lot going on Newport Daily News. But I found this. I just thought it was kind of neat. I don't know what this building was, but it was like a historic telephone building in Newport sells for basically $2.5 million, which again, a lot. We're talking about like this big real estate stuff happening. Like I don't know, but
there's a reason we didn't hear about it, Joey, is because it's nowhere at all on our radar.
We didn't hear about it being for sale, but it's just like they won't say who bought it, which is like weird. But it's not. It's just like some 1879. It was like what do you call it? Like a telegraph first, and then telephone like store. Like you went there to make calls or receive calls and that kind of thing. And it was just like one of it was, I assume the original in the Newport area. And it's got a cool history, like this little article. It just talks about the history of it. And it just seems cool. And it's also really cool looking.
As I say, I see a really cool cut. I see a piano. So I'm sold.
I don't know what. And then,
can you zoom in on the top or back at that next picture?
Wait, this one?
Up top, yeah. Is that like a garden and everything, or is it just like the top's overgrown?
this.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, I don't know. It's wild. Like, it looks super cool. I have no idea what this building actually is, but
I would have guessed you should have shown us the building first and then said, guess what it sold for. I would have guessed more than 2.5 million.
Yeah, by Newport standards, it's not terrible.
It's a deal. It's a bargain.
Well, actually, because the second highest sale in Newport's historic Hill neighborhood in the past 5 years.
Yeah.
I guess the past 5 years, they have to quantify it that way. But it didn't say who has it yet or like what they're going to use it for. But it definitely, that's an expensive buy. Clearly, something big's going to happen with it. So that's going to be something cool to keep an eye on, I guess. Like, I feel like,
Gatsby-esque entertaining. I mean, that's what I think.
Because Newport's all about, like, keeping things historic. So it's not like they're going to completely revamp it and make it into some store. So I wonder, are they going to make like a telephone, like, museum type thing, or like, who knows? Like, I just know it'll probably be cool. It'll probably be something that's open to the public. I can't imagine they're going to turn it into an office building.
Yeah.
So that's cool.
Or just live there. I mean, the place looks pretty cool.
Or just live there. You could probably just live there, yeah.
I wanted to go ahead and share this. I don't think we brought this up last week, and it may have flown under the radar. But we have a new tradition at Salve.
Oh God!
Surprise day! I saw this. I think this was kind of cool. I mean, I think
it's cool. It's just weird.
It just caught me off guard. Most of the news we get updates, and a lot of the news is dour. It's this restriction's coming. These are the things you can't do. So I think this was the perfect time to throw in the surprise day. And this is something that Dr. Armstrong talked about when she came to Salve, was wanting to kind of see more of the traditions.
Yeah.
Well, she asked. It was something she had in mind, and it was something that a lot of people, the campus community, vouched for. They wanted to have more traditions, things going on. What was cool last year is generally there's a faculty and a staff Christmas lunch that happened separately. Last year, almost a year ago, it was all together. Everybody was together. It was one whole campus Christmas lunch over at Ochre. That was cool. Right? Kind of finding those things that kind of happen in silos and bringing them all together. So surprise day, we don't know when it will be. It could be any day. So this is what we say. While COVID-19 presents many challenges, Salve Surprise Day will nevertheless launch in the weeks ahead. How will the campus community know it is Salve Surprise Day? The chapel bells will ring 73 times.
That's
one for each year since Salve Regina opened its gates to the first class of students in 1947. Stay tuned and listen for the bells. I'm just going to say, I would say you wouldn't even have to wait to count. Like, what if somebody's counting 71, 72?
Nope, just 72.
Oh, yeah, just 72. I guess that's not. I guess they're pranking us. But yeah, Salve Surprise Day, and it's supposed to be things, an annual day where something unexpected happens in order to give the campus community a small break from the norm and make people smile. The emphasis will be on fun and taking moments for self-care amidst the busy semester. Now, something that leaps to mind right away is things like an ice cream truck, things like that have happened in the past. I know Craig O'Rourke II would be thrilled to have anything food-related happen on campus. So we'll have to get his thoughts on Salve Surprise Day.
My friends made a really good joke on what was going to happen, but I cannot for the life of me remember. But it had to do with it was Kelly Armstrong, Dr. Malcolm Smith, and somebody else, and it was them dancing or something. Like they're going to drop a music video. But I remember seeing this on Instagram, and I thought it was an ad, and I did not think it was a real Salve thing until I scrolled and saw it was from Salve's page, which I didn't even realize I was following on Instagram because I don't ever use it, and I just happened to see it, and I'm like, this sounds made up. I'm like, who? I don't get the joke. Who's posting this? And I'm like, oh, it's real.
Yep. Just
because they were 73 times, and is it 73 normal, or is it when it gets fast? Because I noticed
it's like when your phone doesn't have service, and there's something major happening, and then you get to service, and it's ding 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 ding.
Yeah,
that's what it's probably gonna be like.
Because I noticed the next day I heard the bells going in. There's the normal regular sound, and then all of a sudden picks up, and it's
it could take 20 something minutes to ring the bell 73
times.
You'd know right away. Unless there's no other reason why the bell would ring more than 12 times, which would represent, what time it is.
Well, it also doesn't do that. It does not swing on the hour. which is the most confusing part of the bells to me.
Well, it gives you a little chime every 15 minutes, I think, or at the bottoms of each.
Oh, maybe that's what it
every
is.
half hour, and then at the major, at the top of the hour, you get the same chime and then a ring for each what time it is.
I just know I hear it and I look at my phone and it's always like 12:36, and I'm like, huh? Why?
Oh, well, they're running on Atlantic Coastal time. I don't know.
Atlantic Coastal Church time.
Yeah, something like that. One last thing I wanted to bring up. Hopefully, we're going to be having Coach Sean Foster here in just a bit. But a basketball note: a lot of NBA teams are putting out each year now. They've had either an alternate jersey or they've called it their city jersey. Which is just like a different style of jersey, and some of the teams have been starting to get released slowly. Some have leaked. The Celtics have not come out yet. There was somebody saying that they had the leak. Nobody knows yet if it's accurate. But fans have nonetheless taken to Twitter and started to make their own versions of Celtics jerseys, and these ones in particular, I actually thought came out really well.
Ooh.
So there's this one.
I really like that one.
There's this one, which is kind of close to what was their city jersey last year, which kind of had like almost Gaelic writing on it. I think this is cool.
That's a good one
the
too.
Neon, the green.
This is hot citrus though, and it reminds me of Sprite. Like that's a Sprite bottle.
No, exactly. That's what I thought of. And then lastly, we talked about Tom Heinsohn, legendary Celtics broadcaster, player, and coach, who passed away earlier this week. He was also an avid watercolorist. So anywhere he went, he would go and paint, even if he was just staying in a hotel room.
Awesome.
And so they used one of his paintings as a backdrop. So
that's really cool. I like that.
That would look unbelievable.
It would be really
as a
hard
jersey.
to like make, I think, but it would look awesome.
Oh,
like, that would be
unbelievable.
Yeah, that would be great.
Best one in the league. They would win. Yeah, they would win the jersey contest.
That would be so cool.
Yeah. So there's a whole plethora of other ones. I mean, this one, the Beantown edition. They just got beans. So some people had more wild.
Yeah, I saw one that was like the Razor logo.
Yeah. So some people had more wild machinations than others, but yeah, those the Tom Heinsohn one was the one that caught me.
They might do a Tom Heinsohn one. That seems
they'll probably have a patch.
Yeah,
that's
seems
happened
like
before, or a line with his initials. I wouldn't be surprised. There's definitely going to be a lot of stuff to honor him throughout the basketball season.
Absolutely.
Speaking of basketball, we're going to try and get head coach Sean Foster into the program. So we're going to take a short break. We'll let you guys watch some of our promotional materials for Seahawks Take Flight, our fundraising campaign here for Salve Athletics. And hopefully we'll be back with the head coach of our men's basketball team. Fellas, let you guys get behind the scenes, and everybody else, be right back.
All right.
Hey, Seahawk fans. While the season is not what we hoped for, athletics is still going strong. Our coaches have adapted to new guidelines and are continuing to foster the growth of our student athletes on and off the field. With all the restrictions due to COVID-19, I can certainly understand what our student athletes are missing out on this year. Competition with teammates, home games with fans, away trips, and the camaraderie of taking a bus hours away, and team meals at Miley after practice. Our athletes are continuing to prepare for competition and are eager for the next full season. We all can't wait to have competition back on campus with our Seahawk fans like you cheering on our student athletes. Supporting our student athletes has a greater impact now more than ever. Please consider making a contribution to a sport of your choice below or Seahawk Athletics. Your support will help ensure that our Seahawk athletes come out of this pandemic stronger, faster, and better than ever.
All right, welcome back to Seahawk Talk. Still trying to secure Coach Foster, so we will step aside in just a minute and be right back. Welcome back to Seahawk Talk. I'm your host, Andrew Pizzelli. We're going to go now to the head coach of our men's ice hockey team, Zach Kalon. First up here today on Friday. Zach, how are we doing?
Doing well. How are you?
Good. We were having a discussion before about some NBA jersey stuff. A lot of teams are releasing their alternate jerseys soon. Some of them already leaked online. A lot of people have been making up mock ones that they think that could happen. So the internet has fun with that sort of thing. I know student athletes, jerseys are a big deal. Now, your team got some new jerseys a couple of years ago. Are you guys at all planning on getting new away jerseys or home jerseys again anytime soon? And how much input do the players get on that sort of thing? Or is it really just, hey, let the adults handle this. You guys will wear the jerseys that you get? Oh, I think we're losing Zach. All sorts of technical difficulties here today on the program. I think we got you back, Zach.
Andrew.
I think you're back.
We're back. We're back. Houston,
We're alive. I was going to ask you, do you guys, when you guys are redesigning jerseys, coming up with new jerseys, home or away, do you let the boys have any sort of say in that, or is it really like, hey, let the adults handle this, and you guys will just wear the jerseys that we make up for you?
When we got the new ones a couple years ago, we had a couple drawn up, and then we showed them to the guys, and we kind of did a process of elimination there. So guys liked a couple of them and didn't, but at the end of the day, as a staff, we picked them, and guys seem to be very happy with them. But it's one of those things. It's definitely fun to do and see the different ways we could go. But I think they came out pretty sharp.
Yeah, I got to agree there. Now, part of getting all that sort of stuff, jerseys, everything else, new helmets, new sticks, comes down to the old dollars and cents. Salve, we played the promo for the Seahawks Take Flight fundraising campaign. I know you guys have your own. Each team has their own promotional video and a place they can go, and you guys have launched your campaign. So talk about that process of starting the campaign, filming, and everything, and what the funds will go towards for the Salve Men's Ice Hockey program.
Sure. Every year we do a fundraiser. We try to set, and it's a time that guys not only reach out to people that they know, but, maybe some local businesses and, just kind of get the awareness of the program out there. And we've had some success with, local businesses that, once they have a donation, they tend to come out and see our games. The employees come and see us. So, definitely some places that the guys go in town, so they know their faces. But, for us, it's a big, part of the year when we do our fundraiser. It's, makes life on the road a little bit easier for the guys, just with the funds that we get. Also, equipment wise. So they're spread out, but everything goes to making life easier for the guys and be a little bit more comfortable.
Yeah. Now, fingers crossed here. A week from today, your alma mater, UMass, will be playing Maine. First game of the year. Will you be watching, and how much do you pay attention to your old school and what goes on there in the program?
Absolutely. I follow them pretty closely. They had a heck of a run a couple of years ago and made it to the Frozen Four there. And, it's a strong tradition. Coach Carvel, he's there now, and, he's done a great job of turning it around and getting that the Mullen Center packed again and really to get a following up at UMass. So for me, it's always, they were some of the best years of my life.
I think we're losing Zach again. Apologize, folks. It's just, you know what this is? You know what this is, Zach? This is just Friday the 13th screwing with us. That's what this is. This is just the way the day's going to go.
I was just going to say that. It's the only thing we don't have is a full moon. We don't have a full moon today, but Friday the 13th, when I saw that, I just wanted to stay inside today.
Well, luckily it rained. So we didn't have to go outside. Obviously, like you keep an eye on the program. How much do you keep in touch with teammates, whether it's from UMass or any of your junior days, or even days afterwards? Semi-pro, pro, lower professional levels. How much do you keep in touch with all those guys? I'm sure it's a wide number of guys to try and stay in touch with, but how much do you stay in touch?
It definitely is. Again, I have some of my best friends that I played junior hockey with. The relationships that I built when I was playing juniors, the amount of time you spend, together on the bus, and things like that. So I still talk to a number of guys that I played juniors with. And then college, Chris, my assistant, we met at UMass and we're still, great friends. And a lot of guys from college, I'm still in contact with and talk to on a regular basis. So, everything that you go through being on a team, you go through so many ups and downs that you really are able to, develop relationships with guys that last a lifetime. So I've been very fortunate to play with some great human beings and that have made an impact in my life, and are still in my life. So I cherish all those relationships, and it's always fun to catch up with old teammates and tell old stories and have some laughs.
Does it help, more so nowadays? Everybody can find you on Facebook or Instagram or something, as opposed to having to be like, hey, do you have Zach Klon's address? I want to send him a letter.
Absolutely. Guys will still, I'm still in a couple group chats of guys from pro. And then also with some guys from UMass too. So there's some funny things that get sent back and forth still. And, it makes it nice to be able to still connect with those guys and still have those same jokes, 15, 20 years later.
Yeah. Now, I know the Salve program has had a number of guys recently in recent history go pro, whether it's in the United States or some guys going overseas. We talked to Colin Clapton a while ago from a golf course. He was talking about going overseas. Do you have any updates to offer in terms of any of your recent grads and where they are? Has anybody secured any landing spots?
They're guys that are getting ready to head overseas to play. They're just waiting right now for everything to, for COVID. It's definitely a tough year for, professional hockey. Everything's getting pushed back, and there's some visa problems of getting guys to go over and play in Europe. So they're just waiting for paperwork to go through, and then for leagues to start up again. So I'm sure they're going to be paused for a little bit longer, but hopefully they'll be on their way here in the next month or so to be able to start their seasons.
Yeah, I know a lot of those guys, even when they leave Salve, they continue to rave about Salve. How big is it to have guys going professional, going to Europe, going to the other places, basically being ambassadors for your team?
It's huge. To be able to have alumni that play after school, that, they graduate with their degree and then go, give professional a chance. It just speaks highly of the program and the individuals that are coming here to play and that they're getting better and they want to continue their hockey careers. So, for us, it's I'm very happy for all the guys that, have come through the program and the guys that, want to continue on and play professionally. I'm very happy for those guys and that they get to, live out their dream.
Now I'm losing you again. Friday the 13th is striking all over the place. Getting totally distracted here for a minute. What was I going to ask you about? Do you have any former teammates? Anybody? Do you have anybody who's working or do you know in the Ontario Hockey League, Zach?
In the Ontario Hockey League, just some of the coaches up there, but no one that I've played with.
Okay. Well, one of the things that came out last week is that they're going to try to not allow body checking in games. I know they don't have body checking in the women's game, but yet the game is still physical. If you take out, I wonder, and a lot of people have been wondering, can you take out the physicality part of hockey? And at that point, what does it look like?
So that they are fighting. They're fighting that right now up there, and I believe that they're going to allow it again. They're going to reinstate the body checking. I think it would, that league in particular would be it, it would be very challenging to have that league play without body checking. It's one of the tougher leagues. It's a lot of NHL draft picks. So to play a full season at that level without body checking, I think would it'd be a glorified men's league. There'd be I don't know how well that would go. So I think they are going to reinstate it and hopefully let those guys play.
I was gonna say, might as well just get the cases and line them up on the bench. I was gonna circle back. I got distracted there for a second, but you talked about guys being able to play D3 and go pro. How big is that as a message? Because I'm sure there's some guys that are torn between, I really want hockey after school. Is D1 my only shot? But if I go there, I ride the bench. Maybe it's harder. That because there's no D2, there's no middle, there's a lot of D1 talent that is at the D3 level. And a lot of these guys, it shows that, hey, you can come here, you can get your education, you can be really successful, and you can get hockey after the fact too, you know? Maybe the world just doesn't want me to ask this question.
Yeah.
Or maybe the world doesn't want Zach Klon's answer.
Absolutely. I mean, it is it's such a fine line today, and there's so many talented players. It's what you want to get out of. If you did I lose you again? Friday the 13th, Andrew.
Oh boy. I think you're on a big delay from me, Zach. So maybe I'll just let you go ahead, answer the question, plow ahead. I won't interrupt until you're done.
No, it's definitely a fine line. There's so much talent out there right now in the game of hockey that the guys that we have coming in here, they put the time in and the work in. There's definitely an opportunity for them once they get their degree to go and play professionally. So we encourage it for the guys that want to, and we work with those guys to help them get placed into leagues and to get their pro opportunities. So it's just the guys that really want to come in, that are dedicated, stay in the gym and really take it as a job. With their academics, they'll have an opportunity to play after college.
Awesome. Zach, thank you so much for fighting through the technical difficulties here with me. I'm going to let you go. Enjoy the rest of your weekend. And I'm going to burn some sage here, maybe over all the electrical equipment. And yeah, I'll talk to you again next week. All right, we're just going to let Zach go. Tons of technical difficulties here on Seahawk Talk. And yeah, we're just going to blame it all on Friday the 13th. So we're going to take a very short break. I'm going to burn some sage over my mixer. And we'll be back with David Lunn. Hopefully a better connection here on Seahawk Talk here on Friday the 13th. We'll be right back.
So you want to be a Seahawk? Let's make sure you wash your hands, keep your distance, wear your mask, and love your Seahawks.
Sammy, no mask?
Come on, Sammy. I know it's pumpkin spice season, but you can't bring drinks to class.
We have simple rules here, Sammy. Get out. Come back when you can follow them.
You got to take care of yourself and others, even if you are Sammy the Seahawk.
Welcome back to Seahawk Talk. I'm your host, Andrew Pizzelli. We're going to go now to the head coach of our women's ice hockey team, David Lunn. David, welcome to the show. How are we doing?
Guys, how are we doing, buddy? Doing well, thanks.
Good. A nice, clean connection. Woohoo!
Yeah, absolutely.
I want to go ahead and ask first. There's going to be a break coming up. We'll have you guys will conclude practice and then have a break before starting your season. How will you plan for that break, and what the girls will be able to do to stay sharp physically, stay sharp mentally? How much goes into that planning and that work?
Yeah, absolutely. So I mean, we just kind of starting to get a little more detail here this week in the past, day or two. So the planning is very fresh, but I've got some ideas running through my head. Obviously a lot of it's going to be done virtually. Between workouts, some video, doing video breaking down. I've been able to take a little bit of video of practice so far. Hoping to do a little bit more this week to start to do some coaching virtually. And kind of incorporate all that to keep them as fresh as possible, obviously mentally and physically. But a lot of the onus obviously relies on them to kind of stay sharp within their own abilities to do so, during the break.
Mm-hmm. This week, Salve launched their Seahawks Take Flight campaign, so a major fundraising campaign. Your team put out. Every team has their own little specialized video and message. Talk about what it was like to be a part of that process, and then what their money will go towards if they choose to generously donate towards the Seahawk women's ice hockey program.
Absolutely. So yeah, no, it was definitely fun. I tried to stay in the back as best I could. The girls are, that's the show, that's their show. I let them kind of have the spotlight. So said my quick piece and let them run with it. They did a good job. I'll be honest, we kind of ad-libbed it, and I think it came out pretty well. But yeah, the funds, obviously with this year being kind of funky, not having competition to point, trying to give them an experience and just enjoy the college hockey and college experience as best we can. So, money to go do a few things with the team as activities, obviously, within the parameters of the pandemic, but, just trying to keep them as a group as best we can. Again, considering where we're at and not having the ability to come together and on the bus, on the road, and so on and so forth. So that's where I think it'll be best served right now. And then hopefully, fingers crossed, we'll have some competition and be able to put it towards, some road trips and so on and so forth.
I was talking to Zach about the OHL, the Ontario Hockey League, trying to eliminate checking from the game this season, and how I kind of feel like that's going to be impossible to do. We both feel that. Now, in the women's game, college, there is no checking, but it still remains a physical game. The game is still played physically. How is that line drawn, between how you tell a team to be physical, but I guess stay within the rules? Or is it more kind of like gentlemanly, hey, the refs are going to let you play a little bit, but you can't actually hit? How is that line taken on the women's side?
Yeah, the game is a physical game by nature. There's body contact. There's competitiveness within the play, between two opponents. And that's a granted, that's a given. But when it's overtly, done to go out of your way to use physical contact to disrupt your opponent's path, that's obviously penalties within the women's game. So, just those kind of penalties, I think you can kill, or tolerate a few of them, obviously, because you want your team, your players to be physical. You want them to compete with and use their bodies to their advantage. Obviously, there's an advantage to that within the sport. But when you're having to kill 5, 6, 7, 8, body checking penalties, and obviously the message isn't on the correct path or getting through correctly. So there's something has to be adjusted. But I can tolerate a couple of penalties here and there within that regard. But obviously there's always too much, and can be too much of a good thing.
Yeah. If you were in your playing days, would you be able to play if they told you, hey, listen, can't hit no more?
Yeah. Probably not. That was my go-to. That's what got me going. So I wasn't a very, overly skilled guy, so I wouldn't really be able to hang with those guys. So I had to do something to level the playing field a little bit.
You were the Sean Thornton of your day?
Yes. I don't know if I was as big as Sean Thornton, but I'd say more like a Sean Avery.
Thanksgiving's around the corner.
Yep.
And I'm going to ask pretty much everybody we talk to this question if I get the chance. Any Thanksgiving traditions, family traditions, anything particular for you when you think about Thanksgiving?
Obviously food, eating, family. Big one for us is the Lions. Watching the Lions on Turkey Day has always been a tradition. Michigan boy, born and raised, and yeah, I mean, that always brings back a lot of memories of sitting down and watching, what used to be Barry Sanders back in the day, just ripping through everyone. But those times have changed, and I still enjoy, watching the Lions, even though we've had some really tough decades, if you will. But it's always a nice tradition. It takes me back to when I was little.
I was gonna say, I think who are they gonna? They're gonna be playing the Texans that day.
Sure.
It looks like. So you got a shot. You got a shot to see a W on Thanksgiving. What would be your favorite Thanksgiving food?
Ooh, I like everything. But if I had to choose one, green bean casserole is kind of my go-to. Love the green bean casserole.
Classic. All right, David, thank you so much for taking the time. Looks like you're outside. Try and stay dry if you can, but I think you're already rightly soaked. So enjoy the rest
of the water, actually.
Enjoy the rest of your time outside. Yeah. Oh, were you out hitting the surf?
Yeah, just down at Ruggles here. I don't know if you can see. Kind of the only guy out.
Oh, hey, nothing wrong with that.
Yeah,
nothing wrong with that. All right, well, dry off buddy. And enjoy the rest of your day.
You got it. I'll see you.
Take it easy now. That's David Lunn, the head coach of our women's ice hockey team, shredding the gnar off Ruggles Avenue. We're going to go now to the head coach of our women's basketball team to round out today's show, Corey Hughes. Corey, welcome to the show. How are we doing?
I'm well. How are you?
Good. You're dry. You're inside.
I am dry, and I am inside. That's correct.
I'm going to ask you to lead off what I ended with, David. Thanksgiving. Any Thanksgiving traditions that come to mind for you, that are meaningful to you?
Thanksgiving was always a big holiday when I was growing up. We always used to go to my grandmother's house, and she would make about 30 different kinds of pie. My favorite pie was banana cream, so she would always make banana cream pie. As I got older, I used to stay at college because we only got like a day off for Thanksgiving, and I didn't have time to get home and get back. So that kind of puttered out after I got out of high school. And now, typically I'll spend it with my brother. This year we're going to stay home and follow the directions of the governor and just try to keep to ourselves and try to keep people safe. So, maybe I'll make a banana cream pie. I don't know.
I was going to say, would that qualify as your favorite food then? Pie is food. So is banana cream pie the favorite Thanksgiving food?
I'm not a big dessert person. So that was always like maybe once or twice a year I'd have pie, and I'd have pie for my birthday. I don't like cake, so my mom used to make me a pie. But mashed potatoes, I think, would be my favorite.
Yeah.
With or without gravy.
Pretty much none of it. You can't go wrong with any of it, in my opinion.
I completely agree.
Like everybody I'll ask, they're gonna say whatever it is, and be like, "Yes, I could eat that right now."
Absolutely. Actually, the cooking with Coach, it's catching some traction, because Mary Rourke asked me to cook her something, so I'm going to be cooking for her this weekend and bringing her some food. So I don't know. It might be in the cards. We might be doing some Zoom cooking.
I was gonna say, hey, we all got phones now. We can all be documentarians. So document set this thing up. Document
Absolutely.
the process.
I love cooking.
I want to get Craig to cooking with Craig, because he comes on every week, and Craig loves to talk about food. He's very passionate about his food. So he's been making pineapple upside down cake. And he's been walking us through his scientific process each week. This week I think I'm going to cool the butter a little bit more, or I'm going to let the glaze sit a little bit. Working through the nitty gritty to get it just right. I'm like, Craig, you got to pictures, video, man. This is the content we want.
I'll see what I can do. And I'm making Mary her meatloaf this weekend and mashed potatoes.
We can have the cooking with Corey, cooking with Craig.
That's funny.
So much of it. Circling back now to the basketball stuff. You guys, everyone here on campus launched the Seahawks Take Flight this week. Each team gets their own little promotional video you guys had produced to help raise funds for your team. Talk about what it was like to go through that process, and then what anybody who wants to be generous enough to donate towards your program, what they can expect that money will be going towards.
Sure. So I actually had two sophomores, Meg and Morgan were our spokespeople. So they did the video. They seemed to have a really good time doing it, and they did a great job. Very enthusiastic, as I knew they would be. And they enjoyed it. I think they nailed it. We've been doing all right. We're already 40% to our goal of 50 donations. And it's exciting that we've only been in for a couple of days, and that's happened for us. So that's great. And not everybody on the team has even started to become an advocate yet. So I think our numbers will really go up. I'm going to appeal to alumni, since I contacted them, and I I'm going to give a shout out to Tara Burke, who gave a very generous donation, and she's given her service, in the reserve, so she's away right now, but she still donated. And I would say what we're going to be doing with that money is just offsetting the cost of the gear that the kids get. They get team shoes and they get travel gear, and that always comes out of those kids' pockets, and it can be rather expensive. So we're going to take some of that money and just try to make it a little bit more tolerable, palatable as far as how much it costs for them to get those things. And then the other thing is I'd like to put a little bit of aside so that maybe we can do another trip. Last year we went to Florida. I think it is now 6 years ago. We went to the Bahamas. We try to do a trip for these kids so they can go someplace fun. It's a lot of fun for them. It's a lot of work for the coaches. But it's a great experience. And typically when they talk about what's their favorite thing, and I'm talking about kids even years ago, they'll say those trips. So we might put a little bit of that aside and do a little more fundraising so we can do a trip in a year or two, which would be nice once things settle down, obviously.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Are you a big Boston Celtics fan?
I'm a basketball fan.
Okay.
I don't dislike the Celtics. I used to, when I was a kid, I was a Celtic fan. I also was a Lakers fan. You grow up with Larry Bird and you grow up with Magic Johnson. How can you not? But I'm more of a basketball fan now rather than just a team. I just like watching teams play. I'm actually very excited, and I want to just give a shout out too, because I have a friend who just got a head coaching job for the Rockets, Stevie Silas. And so I'm just so proud of him, and I'm happy for him. It's been a long time coming, and I used to work with him at camps, actually a Celtics camp. He used to be an assistant coach and a coach there. Actually, I think even a camper. But anyway, he just got named the head coach for the Rockets, so that's exciting.
No, I asked just because I wouldn't know how much you'd have to say, but Tom Heinsohn passed away earlier this week, and just a guy, in terms of a guy who lived and breathed Boston, but just one of those people, part of that generation. I mean, that generation of Celtics players that became
absolutely
coaches and then broadcasters, ambassadors of basketball for the world. For most anybody that is a basketball fan or a player, I mean, these are just ingrown things. And just any thoughts you had on what he meant to basketball and of his passing.
Well, and what he meant to Boston. I mean, he was the voice. I mean, in my generation anyway, I know that there was the voice a long time ago, the voice of the Celtics, but Tommy Heinsohn did, color for years and years and years. And boy, what a homer he was, right? I mean, you got to love that, though. I mean, that's what they wanted. They really wanted that kind of commentating, and he gave it. He was a great commentator. He was very, very energetic, certainly a hometown guy, knew his stuff. And he was a tough player too. I mean, he was a little bit before my time as far as watching, but when you watch the old highlights and stuff like that, he was the kind of guy that got after it, like they all did back then. It's funny when you watch The Last Dance, actually, and you see the way that those teams used to play, and that wasn't that long ago when Michael Jordan played. And when you talk about how the Pistons played and the physicality, you would never get away with that stuff now. I mean, they were terrible to each other.
You'd be jailed.
Absolutely. And it was worse before that. Those guys used to just give each other the business all the time. It was such a physical game. And there was no rest for the weary. And if you were weak, you were totally singled out and just beat on. So, I mean, I liked that kind of basketball. I certainly couldn't handle that kind of physicality because I'm a little runt, but, I miss it a little bit, the toughness, the mental toughness and the hard nose. And Tommy Heinsohn was one of those kind of players. So, he's going to be missed for a lot of different reasons in this area for sure.
As I say, I mean, I think one of his signature shots was like a 15-foot hook shot. Oh, which I think if any of your players took a 15-foot hook shot from the baseline, they might be coming immediately to the bench. Unless it went in every time. Unless it went in every time.
From the block, how to do a hook shot, let alone, the sky hook. But talk about a shot you can't block. Those undersized guys, and actually, Dave Collins had a great hook shot too. Especially those undersized guys, they really knew how to. Actually, I don't have a bad hook shot. I mean, you develop it when you're small and you have to shoot over people. You can certainly use your body to get over I mean, I certainly couldn't shoot over anybody of any height, but it worked against guards. So it's a lost art for sure.
Yeah. It's fun. There's so many of those things. I think we look back at the game then and now and how much it's changed, but there's still so much to learn from them. Like, granted, like, nobody until around like Bob Cousy did you have like dribble moves. Basketball in like the 50s was a lot of just there's no shot clock, and it was just guys standing in place, throwing the ball back and forth for a long time, and then somebody hucking up a shot randomly. Bob Cousy kind of changed the guy. He's zigzagging all over the court.
Absolutely.
But plays were different, but there's still so much. Like, I think if teams, looked at the plays and the passing ability back then, you really don't see as much of that now. It's just so much drive and kick, kick.
Yeah, it's dribble, drive. So, kicking it. I think the art of the pass is dying. And I actually, a gentleman who is a Hall of Fame coach, I remember watching a game with him. We were just sitting one night at a camp, and we're watching a game, and somebody made a full court pass to somebody for a layup. And, the guy gets the ball, and he catches it, and he scores. And the commentators are going on and on about what a great pass it was. And this coach said, that was a terrible pass. It was a great catch. The guy made a great play to get the ball and score. And he was opining on how, people don't really know how to pass anymore. Athleticism has taken that over. And I find that even at our level, just making fundamental passes. I don't think kids practice passing very much, and they're typically not very good passers, and they need to do a lot of work on it. And we do a lot of work on passing, especially since that was what I did. I was not a great scorer in college. My job was to pass the ball and get back on defense. So that's what I did.
Might be putting you on the spot, but who's the best passer you've ever coached?
The best passer I've ever coached. Allegra Lavoie was a really very good passer. I would probably say Allegra. Yeah, she was a very, very good passer.
Yeah. And I think there's a difference too, right, between somebody who, say, can physically make a great pass and somebody who can read and make the right pass, right? Some guy might be able to throw it on a rope, skip it one bounce into a guy's hand. Unless you can actually see that that's there, or, if it's a bad and a risky pass, just being able to do it is one thing. Knowing how and when and where to see the floor is just as important. Absolutely.
And I think that's why, I certainly had people that were good passers, but Allegra knew when to pass and when to shoot, and that made her a great playmaker. And I always talk, I've coached a lot of really great players, and I can talk individually about those great players and what they were so good at. But I always bring up Allegra as the top for me because she just made everybody better. Everybody around her just played better because of the kind of decisions she made. And part of that was the way she passed the ball. If she was covered, she didn't force things. She could thread the needle. She could make the long pass as well. And she very rarely made the wrong decision. She might turn the ball over because it just wasn't a great pass or it was a great defensive play. But she typically made the right decision when she had the ball in her hands. And that's why we were such a good team when we had her on that team.
As I say, and she came up big in big spots.
Oh, always. She was a gamer, and people wanted to play with her too. I say this all the time, and she gets embarrassed. I don't know if she's going to be watching this, but she does get embarrassed when I say this. But I remember her senior year. She was the only senior. We didn't have any juniors, and we were stacked with a lot of talent in that sophomore and freshman class. And we were the 5 seed going into that tournament, and our mantra was just one more day. We just wanted one more day to play. And people were saying they wanted one more day for Allegra. They wanted her to be able to play one more time. And so we just took it one practice and one day at a time. And we ended up, going on the road and upsetting 3 teams to win it. And a lot of that had to do with just because her teammates loved her so much, they wanted to win for her. And you can't go wrong with that.
I say, is that a mentality that your team is adopting now as well? Just one more day?
Yeah, I think so. I definitely think so. And a lot of that has to do with our seniors. So there you go. Let's hope maybe we can repeat.
Full circle.
Just got to get the chance.
Full circle.
Absolutely.
All right. Hey, Corey, thank you so much. I love talking the history and the stuff with you. So it always is a good conversation. Sends us into the weekend well. So hope you enjoy your weekend, and we'll catch up with you again next week.
Thank you. Have a good weekend.
All right. Take it easy now. That's Corey Hughes, the head coach of our women's basketball team. We're going to take a very short break and be back with the producers to wrap up today's show. Don't go anywhere. All right. Welcome back to Seahawk Talk. I am your host, Andrew Pizzelli. Going to bring in the producers now, Joey Morelli and Mike DeFusco, to close out today's show and send us into the weekend. Fellas, first, what are your thoughts, any thoughts you have from our guests here today?
I think that just great piece of wisdom that Coach Hughes left us on. Just take it one day at a time. That's just really all we can do in this climate. So I just that was my biggest takeaway. Just one day at a time. That's all we can. That's all we can do.
Yeah, I mean, am I muted? Okay, no, I'm not muted. I thought it was muted. I don't know. Aside from technical difficulties, so it's hard to hear some of the first people. Yeah, Coach Hughes just I love that she's our last person on the last day of the week. I think it's a really good end to the week. It's a very good bookend because we start with Jody, we end with Coach Hughes, and I think she always says something super inspirational to say. Like I said, we should make a little quote book or something. I don't know, a book of inspirational quotes from
a book of Seahawk Talk quotes, maybe.
Yeah,
one of those little, like a little coffee book. Those would be good. Hey,
we shirt.
We have the time. We have the time. We have the time. I wanted to bring up something. And I think it'll be good to bring up again on Monday with head coach Eric Sorella. But I'm not sure if you guys caught this week. The Masters has started. And there was a hole-in-one. Now this was, it didn't count. It wasn't. This was just they have a practice round. It doesn't matter. It still makes this incredibly impressive. So just go ahead and watch this. Skip. Oh, off the water, onto the green, and this thing rolls probably a good, 60-something feet. After skipping on the water.
It's like a Happy Gilmore type of shit.
Rolling on the green, and look at that. With speed.
Not gonna go in, is it? No.
Swish.
No. That's Mario Golf.
Mario
Golf
shenanigans. No, he didn't mean to do that, did he? He actually just skipped that across the water. Did he?
Yeah, it's kind of a tradition. These guys will on this hole, when they're doing just the practice round, will try and skip, or they have I forget the name of it, but there's a group of older guys that go out. They're not actually part of the Masters competition. It's almost like an alumni type event, if you want to call it that. And so those guys will have fun with it. And so everybody tries to do this. He actually did it.
That's how speedrunners beat games. He's all right, so I'm gonna jump over the water. I'm gonna completely ignore this part. That's insane.
Yeah. Swish. So who was that? That was John Rahm did that. So absolutely amazing. So I'd say nothing can go better than that. So given all the technical difficulties we've had while we've got a clean connection, I'm going to say goodbye to you guys and enjoy your weekend, and we'll talk to you on Monday.
I think that's a great idea. Let's all get some rest.
All right, Joey, safe travels.
Yes, thank you.
All right. That is Joey Morelli and Mike DeFusco, the producers here on Seahawk Talk. I want to give a big thanks to our guests here today. We had Zach Klon, David Lunn, and Corrine Hughes to round out the week. In case you missed an episode, you can like, follow, and subscribe to Salve Athletics on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter, through Periscope, through Twitter, and go back and rewatch every episode of the show. We're live every day, 3 to 4 p.m. here on the Salve Athletics Network, and you can also subscribe to the Seahawk Talk podcast through Sounder FM or your favorite podcast app to never miss a show. Well, that'll do it for us here. I'm Andrew Pizzelli. Hope you have an enjoyable and safe weekend, folks, and we'll talk to you on Monday.